Simmons, Manhattan Democratic Commissioner. I am here as part of a committee meeting for petition and cover sheet review. My counterpart is Commissioner Humane, Manhattan Republican. Mr. Richmond, our counsel, will present right now.
Commissioners, the first item you have relates to volume KG 39. It's a petition for Yvette Clark for Member of Congress in the 9th Congressional District. The petition pages have not been sequentially numbered. In accordance with the past practice and in recognition of the 4th Department decision, we have been giving the opportunity to the candidate to correct by filing a copy with the page numbers. Recommend that you authorize it.
Is this the whole petition?
No, there are 5 other volumes which are complete and correct.
Okay. Because I was going to say that my understanding was that there was a minimum number of signature requirements.
No, this is the only volume of the petition, of the 6 volumes of the petition that didn't meet the cover sheet petition volume requirements.
Didn't she used to be in the city council?
Yes, he was.
Just checking.
Commissioners, the second item relates to a Bronx petition of a candidate, Mark Escoffery Bay, for Member of Congress in the 15th Congressional District. Mr. Bay's cover sheet sets forth his name as Escoffery Bay. His petition put it off as without the C, both petition volumes, so the cover sheet doesn't match the petitions.
One's Asafi and the other's Escoffery?
Right, and I believe, based on prior record, this is correctly spelled, the petitions are incorrectly spelled, but our basis today is that the cover sheet is supposed to match the petitions.
Is there a registered voter named Mark Escoffery Bay or Escoffery Bay at the address listed on the petition?
There is a Mark Escoffery Bay on the petition, at the signature. At the address listed, there is no Escoffery.
So what you're saying is if we bounce the cover sheet because it's correct, but it doesn't match the petition, then there's no way that they can cure it unless they provide a printer's letter for
Or an
the
affidavit
petition.
that you're hearing on May 1st when they testify that I am, as we've done in the past, that he appears themselves that this is me. There was the printer's, I don't know whether he had printed or produced his own, but on the face now, the petitions do not match the cover sheet, but the cover sheet appears to be correct based on the voter registration information.
I would also point out on the Committee on Vacancies, the top name is Diane Escoffery, spelled with the C. I'm guessing it's merely a printer's letter, notwithstanding the fact it's certainly de minimis. There is a discrepancy. So I think we should alert the candidate to come in and explain the discrepancy.
Well, the defect letter, if we send it out, would say that his name on the cover sheet does not match the names printed on the petition. I think that would give him adequate notice that he has to deal with it in one way or another.
Right, but if we bounce the cover sheet, what's his solution? If he refiles the cover sheet that doesn't match the petition, he's still going to be.
But I disagree. The reason is that the petition is a prima facie defect since there's no voter by that name. That's the defect.
Right. So then it's.
If the cover sheet's defective because it doesn't match the petition, that's certainly correctable. But the petition is the prima facie defect because there's no voter by that
We had
name.
in the past, commissioners, and when the notice went out that way, together with the original cover sheet being filed, they filed an affidavit, usually the printer's letter affidavit or an affidavit from the candidate saying it was an error, and that was, at that point, in the past, we've vitiated the cover sheet defect and put the entire matter over for the full hearing, for the full board to determine if the printer letter is acceptable, and it has usually been if it's been a timely
No,
submission.
I understand that, but by sending out this notice, the only way he can cure it is by filing an amended cover sheet with the same information as the original cover sheet.
Correct. Along with some information that there was a printer's error on the petition.
All right.
And by the way, I think this is the kind of thing that the Board of Elections is correctly criticized for, that there's clearly an error, but knowing none of the facts, I think it's pretty obvious that somebody running for the House of Representatives there's a printer's error.
Yeah, but we ought to be clear that in the letter that
The cover sheet matches his voter registration, but his petition does not. And I tell you what, I think that this should not be before us. I think the petition should be on the prima facie list. It doesn't match the voter registration. If we're going to recognize that there is a printer's error, This petition does not match any registered voter.
The CRU check has not even begun yet. We
Then-
have the
then-
obligation
then I-
under,
Excuse me, let me stop you. Then we should put this aside until the CRU check is begun.
because we have an obligation under the law to review the cover sheet within 2 business days. So
We
this
have
is-
reviewed the cover sheet.
And make a determination of whether or not it's a valid cover sheet. Or not. That's
Excuse me.
2 business.
You're over lawyering,
Okay.
which is not a compliment, all right? You're being too technical, and I think it's clear what's going on here. And we shouldn't be slaves to our rules. There are rules, and I know what the law says. Unfortunately, I've been here for a very long time. So I think that the CRU review should run its course. I think we should put this aside until then, because the reality is, technically, there is no cover sheet filed for this candidate. I'm sorry, there's no petition filed for this candidate. There's no, the first question I asked you,
Yeah, Commissioner's right, but
first question I
but
asked
that's
you,
only by us doing additional research.
excuse me, a
on
little
the
sentence,
face.
Mr. Richmond.
Sorry, sir.
First question I asked you was, is there a registered voter by that name? And you said there's a registered voter by the name of Escafri Bey with a C.
Yes.
There is no voter by the name of Asafri Bey. So this petition is not a valid petition, is that correct?
No, sir, because you do not have to be a registered voter to run for Congress. You just, if you're not an enrolled member of the party, he's gonna need a Wilson Peculis.
He's not running for Congress. He's running for the Democratic nomination for Congress, which is a very big difference. Is that correct?
Correct, but again. you
So
don't
then doesn't he have to be a
voter.
registered Democrat?
No, if he gets a Wilson Peculis certificate filed by next Monday.
He just has to be a registered voter?
No,
Okay.
the last day to file certificates of authorization is next Monday.
Again, you're over lawyering, and that's not a compliment. But there's clearly an error.
Yeah.
What would a defect notice say to this candidate?
That the name on the candidate's name that appears on the cover sheet does not match that for the petitions which it claims, these 2 volumes.
Anything else?
That's it, unless you direct more.
I'm directing you to alert this person that the petition filed does not match the name. Candidate's name does not match any registered voter in the city of New York.
Okay. We'll add that as the other.
Yeah, and then he can either come forward and attempt to evidence that there was a printer's error, which is pretty highly likely, and then he can correct the defect.
Okay. But just so we're all on the same page, the amended cover sheet's gonna be exactly the same as.
Correct.
Okay. Which is why the Board of Elections.
That's why we get such wonderful press.
So should we add something to this,
Yes.
just to make
We're
sure?
gonna add that notice that and add as other name on petition volumes, not an enrolled registered voter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. That concludes today's business.
We are adjourned without date. Thank you.